Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of Beside the Gavel. I usually start the show, as most of my loyal viewers know, with saying it's a very special edition. This month I'm here with Lori Jennings, our Public Information Officer, and so maybe a little less special this month, but I'm looking forward to a very lively discussion with one of the most interesting people at the Township.
Well, thank you for that terrific introduction, Commissioner Gavrin. It's a
Lori.
pleasure to be here.
And if you guys know that voice, if it sounds familiar, you may have heard it on Blackboard Connect. Anytime there's an emergency in the Township, that's Lori speaking to you and telling you what's going on in the Township. So thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure to let the residents know when there is something important that they may need to know.
Yeah, and I think we've had you on the show before. I try to block that out of my memory.
Me too.
But no, it's good to have you back. You're one of the few two-timers on the show, so that's it's a big honor. I hate to say it, but it truly is.
It is my pleasure.
So yeah, I think this month we're going to just talk about some of the things. You know, it's the start of a new year. Talk about some of the things that we accomplished in 2023 and what we have to look forward to for the next year.
Well, Happy New Year to our Township residents for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
It's 2024 and that's amazing. It's going to be the best year yet.
I think so. It's off to a booming start. We haven't had any problems, seeing how we're taping this in December. So nothing bad has happened in 2024 yet.
That's
so
true.
We're killing it.
Well, tell me about some of the things that the board's been doing this year in 2023 that we can look forward to in 2024 to get the benefits of it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting you bring it up that way, because one thing that I learned when I joined this board is things move slowly, right? We come on and we're like, oh, I want to do this and I want to change that and I want to, have all this impact. It takes a long time to get things done. So there are a couple of projects, and I think development was a big one that a lot of us came onto the board, saw this township's getting overdeveloped, too many apartments coming in, too much residential development, and we said we need to stop this. And we put in a number of new ordinances that kind of made it harder to develop, and then we redid the zoning code for the first time in 100 years to really restrict development. And I get calls all the time and talk to people and they're like, I thought you guys slowed down development, all this stuff's happening. That was 3-4 years ago, and the development is just happening now. It takes a while to build those projects and to work through the system by the time you get approval and financing and building it. And so it's really interesting kind of how that kind of slow, you're turning a giant ship, not just,
right.
Yeah.
So they applied for all of these projects well before the zoning ordinances came into effect. So they're kind of grandfathered in, if you will. So they get to go by what the old zoning code says, and that is a challenge for us. But from then on, things will change.
Yeah, and we've already seen a lot fewer new applications coming in, and it really has made a difference and helped, and hopefully moving forward will help as well. And back at the time, you needed development, right? We needed, it was a time where we really needed to rejuvenate the township. And if you look at Ardmore now versus Ardmore 10 years ago, really some wonderful things have happened. And you asked, like, what have we worked on in 2023? Ardmore is a big piece of that. We started a master plan in Ardmore. We received a lot of money from the federal government coming out of COVID, this ARP, or American Rescue Fund, or American Rescue Plan, ARP, yep. American Rescue, my spelling's not so good. We got some money from that we are redoing the Ardmore Community Center, which has been a project that's been in our plan for 15, 20 years, and we just never funded it, and now we had the money to do it. So we started doing the engineering of the plan, and that project's going to start in probably towards the end of 2024. It'll take a few years to build, but we're going to have a brand new state-of-the-art community center in the middle of Ardmore. You and I were talking before about Shuffle Plaza. It is, the center. We have Ardmore is the center of this township. It's something we're all very proud of, and in the center of it is a big parking lot.
Right.
Not the greatest town center. So we've been working on a project to, whether it's greenify, is that a word?
I would say that it's greenify. I think that would be what I would call it,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, so really turn it into a town square.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of businesses right around there. It's walking to Suburban Square. I know it's pretty controversial in a lot of ways because there's a lot of parking spots there. So, what happens with that? I think with some of the new development we saw with One Ardmore Place and the one across the street from it, there's a new parking lot there. There's new parking. There's another project down on the other side of Ardmore, down by, why am I drawing a blank where it is? Where
Ardmore and
Hummus is.
Lancaster, where Piazza, that project?
Yeah, thank you. The Piazza project. God, I knew you were here for a reason. Lori, you're the best. Did you get that on camera? Can you cut that part, me saying, Lori, you're the best?
Everyone should rewind that and play it over and over.
It's going to be your new ringtone. Damn it. But no, there's going to be more parking down there. Suburban Square, they've put a lot new parking there in recent years. So there is sufficient parking. And I think one thing, our president of the board is an economics professor at Wharton, which you could never tell from the way he talks. But one thing he's always talked about is parking should be around the center. It shouldn't be the focus of it. And I think that's where we're going to. And it makes a lot of sense that you have all of the businesses, all of the restaurants, all of the fun things that are in the center of the town, and then the parking surrounds it. And I think we're moving towards that with this master plan. And really, we've taken Ardmore from kind of something that needed some work, and we've really put a lot into it and developed it a lot. And now I think this is going to just take it to the next level and really make it, state of the art and something great.
And One Ardmore Place has a ton of parking.
They do.
That parking garage there, it's convenient, it's climate controlled as far as you're not going to get rained on, you're not going to get snowed on. It's a safe place. There are cameras in there.
And it's close. It doesn't.
And it's close, really close.
It's a half a block off of Lancaster Avenue. And the other thing with the train station, so they're doing all this construction on the train station, long term, and it might be a few years, but long term there's going to be a big parking lot there as well. So we're going to have a decent amount of parking.
And I know I've seen the Paoli station that SEPTA redid, and it's really beautiful. I think the pain comes with growth, but I think that the residents are going to see the benefit of that reimagined parking and train station there in Ardmore. It's going to be really an improvement to the community for sure.
Yeah, and I think everyone on this board is excited for the long-term prospects. And it's hard knowing that we're only on the board for a limited amount of time. I'm probably not going to be on this board, if you have any say, when any of these parking lots are built, when any of this is done. But, being able to look back 20 years and say that's from my tenure on this board, we were able to improve Ardmore and really put it in this amazing place is something that, that's why we're all serving, to help our community and help it grow, for the future.
And there's something that probably a lot of our residents don't know, that the parking for the township workforce has been affected by the SEPTA project. We lost half of our parking on that side of the building.
Yeah.
So our township employees have had to use One Ardmore Place or on-street parking, or they've started taking the train. They're trying to figure out other ways because we don't have enough parking here for our employees right now.
Yeah.
So we're all sacrificing right along with the residents, believe that.
Well, anyone who's watching this show is sacrificing right now. So, we all take a piece. So that, I think, from the big picture, that's one of the huge things that's happening. Another, our main mission is to keep our residents safe.
Absolutely.
Right? And so our police force and our fire companies are really crucial. Our police superintendent is retiring after 40 plus years on the force. So we are right now searching for a new police superintendent, which is huge. I mean, we haven't done that in decades.
Right.
So it's a really big, endeavor, and it's something that I think policing has changed dramatically over the past few years, and community engagement and community policing has become a really big part of it. The police is not just a force that goes out there,
right.
and,
it's not just about enforcement of laws. It's about community and helping the residents and building relationships and all of those things that are so important and a part of policing that maybe wasn't a part of that 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, this search that we're looking for. You know, we're looking for the unicorn.
The unicorn,
yes. Who is amazing and traditional, can do all of the traditional leadership of a police force, but also bring us into that next century not next century. God, I'm living a long time ago. Next decade? Next years? I don't know.
Let's just go for the next few years and moving us forward
with our police.
But also maintaining the things that we're really proud of. We have a lot of national and even international accreditations that our police department works really hard to keep. And so we want to keep those things and make sure that our officers are the best trained out there, but also moving them forward into the new things that policing have in store, because we have to keep up with technology so that the criminals don't get smarter than we are.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, they're smarter than we are, but not smarter than the police are.
But we're not police officers. Right, exactly. There's a reason for that.
No, and it's important. There are a lot of reasons for that. But I think it is important. You know, we have a world-class police force, and that has to stay. And we are not looking to go 180 degrees and change things around dramatically. It's doing that while layering on top a lot of the community policing, a lot of being out there, a lot of building those relationships, and keeping, you know, the peace in our community. So, yeah,
it's really awesome.
It should be a really interesting endeavor, and see where we come up with, and see what kind of candidates we get.
I'm excited to see who the next police superintendent's going to be. I'm looking for that unicorn.
Yeah, we all are. Well, unfortunately, we're halfway done with our show already. I can't believe time flies when you're talking with Lori Jennings. We will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to this extraordinarily special edition of Beside the Gavel, where I'm in discussion with Township Public Information Officer Lori Jennings.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks again for being here. Tried to get rid of you during the break, but you wouldn't leave.
Go.
So before the break, we talked a little bit about what's going on around the township. There's also a lot going on in Ward 6, which I represent up in Villanova. Obviously, with the new middle school, I guess I can't call it the new middle school anymore. It's a couple years old now.
Maybe. It's still new.
Yeah, all right. Still got that new middle school smell to it, despite
Is
the
that
middle
what that
school.
smell was?
No, that's the middle schoolers.
Oh.
But along with that comes playing fields, and there's been a lot of discussion around Oakwell and Save Oakwell and what's going to happen with Oakwell. For those who are not in the know, Oakwell is the property. Well, it's part of the property. It's been called Oakwell, but not technically correct, but good enough. It's property that the school district bought to place playing fields for the new middle school, for Black Rock Middle School. It's how many? 12 acres, 12 or 13 acres, about over 500 trees on it, 4 historic buildings on it. The school district had plans to raise it entirely, put a baseball field, a softball field, and 2.5 soccer fields on it. From day one, we said that's not the plan that's going to happen. We're not okay with that plan. And I've spent much of the last 2 years working with the school district, with Lucy Klain, who's just left as the president of the school board, and Peter Lee, who is the vice president, along with Scott Zelov on our board and the Haverford commissioners, to work out a deal for Polo Field to move baseball and softball over to that field. And we just, within the last 2 months, signed and approved that deal, which is a huge coup for all of us.
Right.
That it really has been the example of a win-win-win situation.
For sure, and the cooperation through the government entities and with the school district, it's kind of unprecedented. It's something that hasn't been in the past, and so it's really for the benefit of the residents, and that's where everyone saw this is for the residents, and so everyone came together and sat at the table until it got worked out.
Yeah, and it really, I mean, and when I say it was win-win-win, it truly was. So for the township, we were able to save all of those trees. We were able to save those buildings. It's not a done, well, that's a done deal. We still have to find 2 soccer fields that we're working on. But even if they were there, it would protect 90% of of what's already there, but we're still looking for other solutions and working with the new school board, because they just turned over, we have 4 new school board members, so working with them on trying to find solutions. But we have been able to save that really wonderful property, all the trees, the historic properties. The school district found fields for their baseball and softball teams, which is pretty close to the new middle school. And they have made a contribution to the park of over $300,000 of capital improvements to widen the driveway in, to plant new trees there, to improve the playground there. So really, everyone has all of the benefits of both townships and the I guess the stakeholders of the school district. All of the students have all won in this situation, and it's been great. And finding the solution has been really wonderful. But as you said, the other really important part is we work together, and we set this paradigm for how these government organizations can work together, because it has traditionally been a real challenge between the school district and the township. Right. And this truly changed that. And it wasn't just the commissioners, it wasn't just the school board members. The staffs in all 3 organizations were so crucial. The managers of the organizations, the superintendent of the school district, the solicitors of the various groups, the engineers of each of the groups. It really was a team effort, and so many people were involved to make it happen, and it was a big win for everybody.
And it's to benefit the kids. That's what this is about. It's for the kids, so that they have a place to play their sports. It's really important, instead of having to travel so far away, maybe even out of the township to use a field. So now they can do that where they live, which is really great.
I believe the children are the future. Okay, I'm going to stop singing.
Please stop singing.
For those few people who were tuned in.
Cut that
out. Yeah, so that was really wonderful. Another thing that's coming up, actually going from the kids to the seniors in our township, Ashbridge House. So in the middle of our township, we always talk about Ashbridge Park as being one of the jewels of Lower Merion Township.
It is a beautiful park.
It is a gorgeous park. It's right in the middle of the township. It's well used. It's well loved. A wonderful playground there. There's a sledding hill. There's an arboretum. I mean, it has parking. It has plenty of parking. And it has this mansion in the middle, this historic mansion in the middle of it that gets used really twice a year on election day. And that's pretty much it. And because of that, the mansion hasn't been maintained. Thank you. And so what we've worked with New Horizons, which is a senior center, nonprofit senior center that's currently based in Narberth that serves a lot of Lower Merion residents. They're in a temporary home. They're in Narberth Borough Hall, and every day they go in and they pack up their stuff and leave at night and go in the next day and set up and pack, and it's ridiculous. For what they do for the township residents, for the seniors, they deserve way better than that. Yeah. So we've been working with them, and here's another example of things going slowly. For the past 4 or 5 years, we've been trying to find a permanent home for them, and Ashbridge is a perfect permanent home. They want to be there during the day. They're not throwing huge parties at night that the neighbors are going to complain. Well, sometimes, but usually not throwing those seniors really can get down, right? They're not throwing huge parties at night. That's upsetting the neighbors. It's a great use, and so we have invested some of this ARP money again that we got from the federal government in renovating Ashbridge House. Right now, it's not handicap accessible. We're putting in an elevator in the back of it. Right now, to get to the bathroom on the first floor is a big step down. So again, we need to make it handicap accessible and ADA accessible. So we're really spending a lot of money. I think a few $1 million, about $3 or $4 million, putting into Ashbridge House to renovate that and make it a senior center in our township. So it's another really big, I think another big win for our township. Yeah, well, those are 2 of the most vulnerable groups in our township, the children and also our older citizens. Yeah. So we're taking care of those, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. I think when I came onto this board, I didn't realize, I came onto this board because I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to make this township better. I live here with my 3 girls. I think it's, I wanted to show them how important it is to get involved in your community, make it better. And sometimes it's frustrating how slow things go, but also talking about this and seeing these major changes, the Ardmore Community Center, bringing New Horizons into Ashbridge Park, the new middle school, working on the fields to save 500 trees in these historic buildings. I mean, all of these projects really, really are exciting, and it's something that I'll certainly look back on and be proud of. My small role in doing all of this with the members of the board and the staff in this township.
Well, I don't always like to say nice things about you, but I am really proud of the work that you and Commissioner Zeloff did to work with the school district, to work with Haverford to make that happen. But also this project, it's going to be really important for the social aspect of what New Horizon gives to our older residents and all the things that they offer to them that helps our older population not to feel so lonely.
Yeah.
They have people that care about them and will help them get services, and they do all kinds of fun activities actually at
They
New
really
Horizon.
do, and help feed seniors that need help. And I mean, it's an incredible organization, and to be able to find a home for them really is great. And I think anyone who works with Commissioner Zeloff deserves a medal. So
he's not so bad.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about him.
Oh, come on.
Nah. And that's one of the nice things, in politics these days, it's so divisive, and you're on the other side of the aisle, you're an enemy, right? It's crazy to me. And in our township, it's so wonderful. It doesn't matter, right? I've had the pleasure of working with Scott on the finance committee, on allocating ARP dollars, on the polo field project. I mean, I don't even think that's crossed my mind once what party he's part of.
Right.
We work together, we're working for our residents. He cares so much about his residents, and we're all in this for the same reason, and we're all in this to make our community better, and so it's really great.
Something the residents may not know, I've seen different members, even of the same party, vehemently disagree on topics at the board table, vote against each other, do all kinds of things like that. And then after the board meeting is done, they go out to dinner together. Yeah. And they just have a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's amazing to me.
It's great that it's not personal. Like, we feel very strongly that when I came on this board, I said, I'm not going to compromise my beliefs. I'm going to do whether it's an idea from a Democrat or a Republican or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If I think it's a good idea, I'm going to support it. If I don't think it's a good idea, if I'm outvoted 13-1, which I've been numerous times, and I've been vocal when I'm not one about why I feel that way, it's okay, right? That's why we have 14 members of the board where...
Yeah, and we don't have board members that I know you see in other places that just vote with their friends. We don't have that. Yeah. You guys vote whatever is in your heart, what you think is the best, and I really find that is shows that all of you have a lot of integrity.
Yeah. So last month, Mike McKeon just left the board. He became a very good friend of mine. Who? I don't even remember that guy anymore.
I don't even know who you're speaking of.
He had some show that nobody ever watched.
Oh, that's the guy with the telethon.
The trash show.
The trash show.
But I was
threw that out.
I gave a little speech about him when he was leaving, and I was going to say something how I got ticked off at him a couple times when I presented something and he voted against what I had presented. And he's my good buddy. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, of course that's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be voting for something because you like me or pretend to like me. You should be voting for something because it's the right thing.
Correct.
And so it really, you're absolutely right that that's how we operate on this board. We all do what we think is right. What we're trying all to row in the same direction, and reasonable minds differ. So.
Well, I think that's the best way that we get good government here in Lower Merion Township that maybe you don't see everywhere.
Yeah. Well, Lori, we did it. We killed another 24 minutes.
Awesome.
For those of you who joined us on Beside the Gavel, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.